All right. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Hey, welcome everybody. All on the different social platforms and stuff. Welcome, welcome. I didn't really get a chance to send out a reminder today on the WhatsApp chats, but oh well, it will be what it will be. Good morning, good morning. A Course in Miracles. That is the perspective in which we will view all of our problems today. Hello, hello. So we're going to be looking at this book right here, and we'll talk a little bit about it. And today I want the topic to really be, I don't know what the topic's going to be, but I'm going to begin by talking about control. Control and worry and anxiety, where they all come from. Okay, so we'll just give it another 30 seconds till everybody starts to hop on. Close here. All right. And if anyone wants to comment on IG where you're coming in from. All right, now we have people hopping on. Okay, perfect. So, there we'll begin by kind of just we'll start by reading the a little preface to what the course is, and then we'll see how we can bring miracles and blessings into our lives through its teachings. All right, so A Course in Miracles, if you don't know what it is a 3-part book like this that was scribed. Okay, so A Course in Miracles began with a sudden decision of 2 people to join in a common goal. Helen Schuckman and William Thetford. They were psychologists in Columbia University. And like all spaces and all working spaces, there are intense moments. And when I say intense moments, I mean when people come together, intensity gets created. Because there will be some point in which disputes happen. And how do we respond to those? It's kind of like, I don't know, it's not, I don't want to compare it to the Bible, but I would say it's like my holy book, I guess. And it does talk in Christian languaging and Catholic languaging, but it creates more clarity for us, at least for me, in terms of um, my own belief systems. It constantly brings it back to looking at your own mind, looking at which teacher you're listening to. Is it the Holy Spirit or is it your ego? Right. So ultimately, the Bible, the course, any spiritual work is really about just deepening your own faith, your own trust in your own faith. And where does it come from? Right? It's not of this world, it's of an inside world. And when we can actually deepen that connection and that relationship, we don't ever feel alone, or we don't ever feel like, you know, that the world is scary, that we can actually uh find peace here, find peace and happiness. So, in this intense space where people talked behind each other's backs, and we're not kind to each other, willing to step on top of each other to get somewhere else, like using each other as stepping stones. um William Pfeffer, Helen's co-worker, was like, there's got to be another way in which we can relate to each other. It can't just be this way, that the world can't just be like this, that everyone gets ahead by stepping on others. So Helen, as soon as Helen said, yeah, William, you know there's got to be another way. See, what it's implying right there for both of them is that they thought they knew how to do it. right? They were leaders in their space. They were the supervisors or whatever role that they played. They had people working under them, and in their own control, they were not able to create peace and harmony and kindness in the way people treated each other. So the first step the course says to finding your own peace and to finding happiness and creating a harmonious space is to give it up. Is to give up what you desire to have happen. And how many times in our lives do we want something to happen a certain way and it doesn't, and it still turned out okay? Right? And it's going to go into the topic that I have for today, which is no doing ever has to have a need. I need do nothing is the section that I want to actually read today. And so the course, Helen started to have all these thoughts. This voice started to come in her head saying, "This is a Course in Miracles. Take notes." And it just kept getting louder and louder, and it was spirit talking to her. She said that it was Jesus coming to her mind, talking to her. And you can believe whatever you want to believe about that, but there are moments where you just have such clarity in our lives. We have such clarity on what we have to do. And so she just started to scribe this. In the middle of meetings, the voice will come. In the middle of conversations, this voice will come. And when it came, she stopped whatever she was doing and started scribing, started to write this. And if we think about any problem that we ever have, it comes from a sense of control. And until we recognize that we aren't really in control of anything, we will always find resistance. So the topic, the description of today's call is, I need do nothing. I need not lift even a finger to have anything done. And it's not that there aren't things in our life that we should be doing, but the doing this never has to be associated with a need. And it's an interesting perspective. If we can remove the need out of it, we start to let go of this false sense of control. If you think about, people that are anorexic, like have eating disorders, eating too much, eating too little, all of that comes, and even smoking, right? Everything that you do that is kind of like a habit, there's always a sense of needing to be in control in this moment. And we can see it throughout the day. The entire day, we are trying to fight the world for control. I need to get to this place by this time. I need this person to call me back now. I need this to happen. I need that to happen. Everything turns into a need, and it's a battle for control. And no wonder we're a world of just like, we have so much anxiety in this world. And the more we feel like we need to do something, the more anxiety we're going to have. And we start to develop an anxiety like mind. Anxiety muscles are developed. And over a period of time, we have no idea why that even happened. See, this goes into the course talking about cause and effect. Before you know it, right? Because you decided you needed to do all these things, you created anxiety for yourself. Then because we've done it so long, we don't even know where the anxiety comes from anymore. The veil came down and we forgot why it even happened. We don't look at why we even have anxiety. So then what does the mind, this little clever mind, do? The little clever mind says, oh, it's because of this person I have anxiety. It's because of a situation turning out this way I have anxiety. We no longer know where the cause of our anxiety is, and we look in a place that it is not. So the course says the ego's motto is seek but do not find. Seek but do not find. Because if it has you in this seeking but do not find, you just keep running in circles. And no wonder our society and our lives, our financial lives, reflect a hamster wheel because we don't know where the cause is. So we just keep going in circles, and we're like, I don't know why I'm in the hamster wheel. I think it's financial that I need to get out of. Then it's not, and then we realize that our relationships are in a hamster wheel. Then we realize everything that we do is a hamster wheel because the veil came down, and we have no freaking clue what the cause of it was. And it's this need for control. We need for control. So there's a section in the course, and I underlined almost every single part of this section, which I do in like the entire course. Because every time I read it, I'm like, oh, this section's not underlined. Let me see why it's not underlined. I read it, I'm like, ooh, yeah, that was good. Let me underline it. So I have more things that are underlined than not underlined, which is pretty funny. So I need do nothing. The recognition that the doingness of everything I am participating in my life has no need behind it. So then what happens? See, the course calls this a period of relinquishment. When you have been fed up enough of running in the hamster wheel, you will start to naturally go into this period of relinquishment. I'm relinquishing things that do not matter to me, that I thought was valuable, and it's not. So you know what? I'm going to give up smoking. I'm going to give up drinking. I'm going to give up this habit. I'm going to give up that habit. I don't really need it anymore. I'm going to give it over to whatever, spirit, God, universe, something beyond me. And we will give up a lot of things. I'm like, I don't really care about the outcome of this basketball game. I don't really care about the outcome of this football game. But some people really do. And they will go to war with people over which team wins, over words that are said about their team. I mean, we see it all the time. Fights happen. My friend got stabbed at a Red Sox game. Yankees Red Sox game. We go to a point. We are so insane. Think about the insanity of our culture and the way our world operates. There are people living with yachts. There are people living with so much money. And then there are people making $3 a day. Less, actually. 2 billion people making less than $2 a day. 2 billion. That's a quarter of the world. And we don't even know it's happening. We can somehow move it outside of our mind. And yet, we still need to do things. You've got everything already that you need materially, and you still need to do things. See, this sense of control is really what we think we need. And it's false because there is nothing you can be in control of. Nothing. Not one thing. You think you can be in control of something, but it's only temporary that it looks like the way you want it to look. But ultimately, in time, hey, what's up? There is no control over it. Okay? You cannot control when you are going to die. You cannot control when the stock market goes down, goes up. There are so many things in our life that shows us we have no control. And yet we keep fighting for it. That's the insanity, right? What is the definition of insanity? Are we not insane? Okay, so I guess we gave enough time for people to hop on. Let's really begin the call now and make an introduction to myself and to Natalia, who is my co-teacher, co-host, co-student here. Just you've been an amazing student of the course, and I admire and am inspired by how dedicated you are to it as well. And when times are challenging for me, you you share and you bring the course back. Can we control we eat and drink? Of course. You seem to think you can control what you eat and drink, but what do you actually want to control? You want to control your health. Now, in temporary times, yeah, it's going to make me feel better, but you don't really have control of anything. You can eat really good and still end up with some kind of disease that's out of your control. The needing to be in control is what brings the sickness to the mind. It's not even really the food and all of that. Because if we, the course is, in this section, the course actually talks about how I am not my body. As long as you believe you are a body, you will bring all the problems that come with the body. And no matter what we want to give up control of, right? And Tots, I know we've done ceremonies and things together, and there is no control things. You got to let things play its course. But what we do in our insanity in our mind is, okay, yeah, I think we can have no control there, but no, I need control here. The amount of money in my bank, I need control here. And what we try to control often ends up controlling us. And it dictates the way we react to everything else in our life, the way we react to people, the way we trust or don't trust people. Right? So it starts to take over and controls us. So thank you for that question. But we can do that everywhere. And what's the difference between controlling and making choices? The only choice that you can make really is about the two teachers in your mind. And I need do nothing, which means I need not even debate this conversation. I don't need to know the answer to it. I am doing this. It makes me feel good. Boom. I am doing this, but doing it with peace. Ultimately, is it with peace? Right? And making choices and controlling. I guess it depends on the context in which you put it. Right? Like, does it bring you to a place of resistance? Does it bring you to a place when you're making choices? Does it bring me peace in my mind? If it does, great, have at it. Going down that path brings you closer to your real self, to the recognition of heaven. Going down a path in which you create resistance, I'm making choices to get into an argument with you over what we eat, down the wrong path, right? Because it's still, sickness comes from the mind. Okay, people can be really healthy and still end up with cancer. People can smoke till their lungs are black and not have cancer. It's the way in which you eat it or smoke it. If you feel guilt every time you put this thing in your mouth and you're like, oof, I know. See, arrogance is okay. I mean, ignorance is okay. Wait, ignorance, arrogance, ignorance. Not knowing is okay. But once you know and then you do it with guilt, you're eating guilt. And you're adding guilt to yourself. Now, can you do it with I'm just trying to enjoy? You can do it with peace of mind and still be at peace. And then it comes down to, can we look at other people and accept the way it's done? That no matter what, we're all still going to the same place. See, everything is a one direction, one-way street. The way I give is a one-way street. The way I think about this person is a one-way street. Because whatever I do back onto myself. So what do I want for me? We don't recognize that. We think we're shedding things when we point and give things away. It goes less, more. Guilt. I feel bad right now. I feel angry. If I just get real angry and get everyone around me to feel my anger, then somehow I can feel less angry. Nope, that doesn't work. Right? All that does is just create more anger in the whole space, and now collectively there's more anger. If I'm happy, I can do the same thing. Right? We think we have to control everything around us. And that's the problem. When we realize that when I give something, it always comes back to me. If I judge something, I ultimately will judge myself. If I project my anger, more anger comes back to me. See, the idea of anger gives me some sort of payoff. Now I'm going to respond. I get something for responding that way. Ooh, more people are all feeling angry, feeling timid. People aren't as loud anymore. All of a sudden, I'm like, oh, yeah, getting angry is a good thing. So people do it. You won't cry. Babies don't cry if they don't get attention after they cry. They probably will stop crying. You'll stop being angry if you didn't get the attention after being angry. If you didn't get something for it. Now the power comes to nobody is giving me anything. Nobody's giving me anything, and I'm not giving anything. I'm only giving to myself. When I extend happiness and peaceful thoughts, peace and happiness comes back to me. When I judge and I attack somebody else, attack comes back to me. Because the idea continues to grow in my mind. That makes sense? So this is another of understanding that everything I do just magnifies in my life. So then what do I do? And this is why the Course says, you really need not do anything. You don't have to lift a finger. You can sit there and do nothing. So let's read a section in the Course, and let's see what opens up for us. And we'll open it up for conversations, and we will continue this part. But yeah, the ask is be open to this thought. Be curious. Be curious to what it is that I'm saying and what you're hearing and what the Course is saying here. Okay, there's no need to be like, I agree with it, I don't agree with it. Take that whole thing and move it to the side for now and just try it on. Okay, try this on. Try to just hear and be open to it. Be curious. All right. So in chapter 18, it's called the passing of the dream. Okay, this section in section 7, it's called I need do nothing. So I'll read and I'll stop here and there just to put my 2 cents in. And anybody that wants to raise their hand and talk, ask questions on all the different social medias, you can do so. All right. So I need do nothing. You still have too much faith in the body as a source of strength. What plans do you make that do not involve its comfort or protection or enjoyment in some way? Yes, page 388. This makes the body an end, not a means in your interpretation, and this always means you will find sin attractive. And sin is defined as lack of love. Okay, sin is not some sort of punishment. Sin is just you'll find lack of love attractive. No one accepts atonement for himself who still accepts sin as his goal. You have thus not met your one responsibility. Atonement is not welcome by those who prefer pain and destruction. So the atonement is the recognition, the remembering of who it is that I am. That you are not in control of anything, that you are the perfect, innocent child of God. That's the atonement. There is one thing that you have never done. You have not utterly forgotten the body. It has perhaps faded at times from your sight, but it has not yet completely disappeared. You are not asked to let this happen for more than an instant, yet it is in this instant that the miracle of atonement happens. Afterwards, you will see the body again, but never quite the same. And every instant that you spend without awareness of it gives you a different view of it when you return. At no single instant does the body exist at all. It is always remembered or anticipated, but never experienced just now. Only its past and future makes it seem real. Time controls its entirety, for sin is never wholly in the present. In any single instant, the attraction of guilt would be experienced as pain and nothing else, and would be avoided. It has no attraction now. The whole attraction is imaginary and therefore must be thought of in past or in the future. See, when we think about our body, this is what the Course is saying. Our body creates the identity. The identity is an idea of who you are. And that idea is a limitation of who you are. You've taken the infinite and limited it into a body. You are infinity, and you made yourself a body, which has limitations. It is impossible to accept the holy instant without reservation, unless for just an instant you are willing to see no past or future. You cannot prepare for it without placing it in the future. Release is given you the instant you desire it. Many have spent a life. So think about this. Release is given to you the instant you desire it. The instant that you decide that your past does not define you anymore. The instant that you decide the future doesn't define you anymore. You begin to experience the holy instant. The instant is this moment. In this moment, if you are truly here in this moment, there is no past of you. What is there? What could possibly be there to be worried about now? It's kind of like when we like watch a movie and we're suspended and we're really into the movie, we're in it, right? We're here with the movie. We've suspended all of our judgments of what's real and what's not real. Ooh, Superman's flying around. Yeah, that seems really real for us. We've suspended our judgment. But in that moment, when you're in it and you're really in the movie, like, are you like, ooh, did I put the dishes away? Like you start worrying about a bunch of other stuff? No, because in that instant, only that is happening. So, um, release is giving you the instant you desire it. Many have spent a lifetime in preparation, have indeed achieved their instance of success. This course does not attempt to teach you more than they learn in time, but it does aim at saving time. See, everything is about saving time. And this is why, in the multifamily space and everything I do, I'm like, it's about compressing time and saving time. The delay is not necessary. Having the right guide, the right mentor is what you need. And the Holy Spirit and Jesus is your mentor. There is nothing else you actually need besides to have somebody to look to that has done what you've done so that you can get there faster. Then the only thing comes down to is trust. Do I trust myself? Do I trust this person? Can there ever even be a mistake? That's the question. See, the fear that I could make a mistake or I could lose something is the reason why we have conflict. Because if we think about it now too, I give something and it always gets back to me. I'm always giving back to me. If I spend $20,000 on something, I'm giving back to me. If I invest $50,000, $100,000 into something, I'm giving back to me. I'm not giving it to you. I'm giving it to me. But when my mind becomes split and I think that I'm giving money to somebody, let's say I join a mentorship or a mastermind and I give my money and now I'm like, come on, I'm still waiting for something to be received, right? I'm still waiting for something in return. That mindset will always lead you to disappointment. It will never be good enough. This is why the practice of gratitude is so important, because we're trying to actively change and train our minds to that space. But really, what you're coming down to is realizing that when I put money somewhere and put my time and energy somewhere, it always comes back to me. Now, can I invest in this thing and just be at peace completely with it? I've opened my mind up to something. I've already received in this instant that I'm willing to even believe in myself enough to do this. Boom. I've already received. The mastermind or mentorship or course hasn't even begun. The fact that I was willing to invest this on myself, I've already received. See, that's one way to look at things, right? So it's all about saving time, and it comes down to trust. It's trusting in myself and also trusting in the fact that God put me and this person together. God gave me this opportunity, and God will give me more and more opportunities to continue doing that as long as I don't get in the way. The need itself, spirit has no need. It does not need to do anything for you, because at some point you will be tired enough of your own control and doing this that you will give it to spirit. Spirit just waiting there with open arms all the time. Now, that's our mentor. That's our teacher right there. Can you always be waiting with open arms? That's the question. Because if you don't, it doesn't do anything to anybody else. All it does is it eats away at your own mind. You sit there with your arms crossed, pissed off, judging the world, keeping people out. It doesn't do anything to anybody else or for anyone else. it only creates that isolation and separation for you. So infinite patience. Can I always be patient? You may be attempting to follow a very long road to the goal you have accepted. It is extremely difficult to reach atonement by fighting against sin, by fighting against lack of love. Fighting against anything is a extremely difficult road to get to where you want to go to. That's the line right there. Enormous effort is expended in the attempt to make holy what is hated and despised. Nor is a lifetime of contemplation and long periods of meditation aimed at detaching from the body necessary. All such attempts will ultimately succeed because of their purpose. Yet the means are tedious and very time consuming, for all of them look to the future for release from a state of present unworthiness and inadequacy. Ooh, wow. Think about everything that we're doing. We're trying to release a future version of ourselves. We're trying to look to the future to release something that is happening right now. My present unworthiness, my present anxiety, my present inadequacies, self-worthlessness, unworthiness. I'm looking to the future to try and fix a problem that is happening right now. Now, ultimately, anything you do will eventually lead you to the success of it. Okay, you will have to go down enough pain and enough, shit in order for you to be like, oh, let me just give it over to the Holy Spirit. And then it was that simple from the beginning. So it's about saving time. Spirit's like, here, just do this. Stand here with an open arm and be an invitation always. That's all you do. Just sit here and do that. You need to do nothing else except just accept, right? Surrender to grace. Grace is free. Grace is here for you. Grace is a gift. You just take it and accept it, or you can fight it all day, wanting to be in control of something to fix an uneasiness of this moment. Which all it does is delay. You need not delay, is what the Course is saying. Your way will be different, not in purpose, but in means. A holy relationship is means of saving time. One instant spent together with your brother restores the universe to both of you. You are prepared. Now you need but to remember you need do nothing. It would be far more profitable now merely to concentrate on this than to consider what you should do. It would be far. So if you're ever stressed, focus on I need do nothing. I need do nothing. I need do nothing. I need do nothing. Then to figure out what it is that you have to do right now. That's what the Course is saying. Don't worry. Don't consider what you should do. Just be in the space of I need do nothing. Let God show it to you. When peace comes when peace comes at last to those who wrestle with temptation and fight against the giving into sin, when the light comes at last into the mind given to contemplation, or when the goal is finally achieved by anyone, it always comes in just one happy realization: I need do nothing. That's when all the peace comes. Wow, I really needed to do nothing in all this time. Right? Because even if you got something that you wanted, it's still part of this material world. And you find that, wow, I'm frustrated and I'm anxious again. Even though I accomplished this, my deal closed, I'm supposed to be happy. Why is it that the next moment I find something else to be frustrated and anxious about? Right? Here is the ultimate release, which everyone will one day find in his own way and at his own time. See, this is the patience. Can you have this patience for everyone and for everything? That everyone one day will find their own way in their own time. I will find my own way in my own time. You do not need this time. Time has been saved for you because you and your brothers are together. This is the special means this Course is using to save you time. You are not making use of the Course if you insist if you insist on using the means in which to serve others as well, neglecting what was made for you. Saving time for me by owning this one preparation and practice doing nothing else. I need do nothing is a statement of allegiance, a truly undivided loyalty. Believe it for just one instant, and you will accomplish more than is given to a century of contemplation or of struggle against temptation. The focus today is I need do nothing. To do anything involves the body. See, here we go. We go back to this body that we have made so real, this body that creates separation, that creates judgment. And if you recognize you need do nothing, you have withdrawn the body's value from your mind. Okay, so this is where I'm asking for everybody to try it on, because there will be so much objections to this. You know, in the beginning, I was like, what? I'm going to go work out. Okay, I need to make my body good. I need to fix my body. Here's a quick, and actually it's the reason why my wife and I ever gets into a fight is over the health of the body and how it comes about. Literally. Here's a quick and open door through which you slip past centuries of effort and escape from time. This is the way in which sin loses all attraction right now. For here is time denied and past and future gone. Who needs do nothing has no need for time. To do nothing is to rest and make peace and make a place within you where the activity of the body ceases to demand attention. Into this place the Holy Spirit comes and there abides. He will remain with you. He will remain when you forget, and the body's activity return to occupy your conscious mind. So it's going to come back to you. None of us is going to escape this as long as we have a body, because we see it. I got a body. I look in the mirror. Here I am. Yet there will always be this place of rest to which you can return, and you will be more aware of this quiet center of storm than all its ranging activities. This quiet center is where you do nothing, and it will remain with you, giving you rest in the midst of every busy doing on which you are sent. For from this center, you will be directed how to use the body sinlessly or with love. It is this center from which the body is absent that will keep it so in your awareness of it. Okay, so that was the section of I need do nothing. See, the recognition I need do nothing brings so much peace to our minds. All right, so that was the section I chose to read today, and open it up. Anybody have any thoughts, any questions about that? Super interesting. Great reminder. What'd you guys hear?
I wanted to share something. I thought it was really funny how my mind, out of all the parts in the Course in Miracles, it was particularly this one that I was not listening to anything you were saying all the way to paragraph 5. So how interesting, like how big the resistance is in this particular. I just thought it was really funny because we went through the paragraph 1, 2, 3, 4. And to me, it was as if you were reading Chinese. And when we got to paragraph 5, I actually said that out loud to my head. I was like, oh my God, I am not, I'm so resistant to listening to this, or I was listening, but not comprehending. And when I said that in my mind, then that's when I understood paragraph 5. And I was like, oh, okay. This is English after all. So I just wanted to mention that. And it's the first time as we read the Course in Miracles that's happened to me.
Yeah, think about that. I mean, it happens to all of us. Sometimes when I'm reading the Course, and this is why it's so hard to read, and it's such a practice, because it's the simplicity of it it's like so much that we can't make sense of simplicity. We're like, wait. My mind is twisted. What do you mean I'm not a body? As soon as it says I'm not a body, the mind's like checked out. Like, well, I don't get that. Okay, I'll come back to it later. And we can sit there and want to pay attention, but our mind is thinking about something else. And we can't actually focus on what is even said. Now, that's why the course, the entire course, every paragraph, every sentence, every word, every section is telling you the same thing over and over and over again until one part of it lands with you. One sentence lands with you. Now you've opened your mind to be able to read other parts. Then another part opens up to you. Like, oh, yeah, wow, that was amazing. And then it opens up slowly. That's how, but this is how much we are in resistance to this moment. Right now, in this moment, I can't even be present enough and let my mind be here. This is what the course is saying in this whole section is I need to be in the future or in the past. That's what is even running in my mind is about the past or about a future. Worrying is about a future. Regretting is about a past. And this is all we do. We just sit there and escape from the present moment. You know, and there will be perfect times because in the course is a section called Finding the Present. And all of a sudden you're like, oh shit, I haven't found the present like ever. That's what this means. Right. And somebody says, I don't understand that I need do nothing. Right. See, there's so much resistance that I need do nothing. I got to go make money. I got to provide money, food for the for my family. I need to do this. But ultimately, you really need do nothing. Need means like without it, the world will end. My world will end if I don't do it. And think about just that aspect itself creates so much anxiety in us. We make everything an emergency. Rarely is anything in our life an emergency, but we act as if everything is an emergency. I got to take this call. I got to take this call. If I don't take this call, somebody's going to die. Nope, that ain't happening. But we act like that's happening. I need to have this happen right now. You need to agree with me right now or somebody's dying. That's not happening either. But we make everything in our life emergencies when there's rarely any emergencies. And this is why we're so tense and we think things are coming after us. And fear, somebody said yesterday, I was doing a YouTube brainstorm and he was like, you got to talk about fear. You got to create fear in your videos. People like watching fear. I'm like, no, I'm not doing it. I ain't doing it, you know, because I don't want to create that. I don't want to be that to be real in my mind. But think about it. That is collectively what we have accepted to be true. Kid's freaking 17 years old, and this is what he sees. That fear dominates media, that creating fear gets you more subscribers. And all of that is a false need. You see, I don't know why I'm so negative. I'm so afraid of everything. Well, here's one. You think that it needs fear to gain followers. You need fear to gain subscribers, to gain a following. You wanted the followings to do what? You got to go down this path of what am I doing it for? Right? I'm not just getting followers to get followers. I'm not be a clown dancing in front of people just to get followers. Right? So ultimately, you have to realize, what am I doing it all for? You got to keep asking yourself, oh, for what? I want to make YouTube videos for what? Oh, and then all of a sudden we get lost that I just want more subscribers. So we're willing to do anything. Oh, I got to promote and project more fear, get everybody to be scared. Right? Then I'm like, no, okay, I just want to do it to educate. And then at some point you might be like, oh, but I need more followers and more subscribers to educate more people. And then you get lost again. You see, you go down these paths of doing things which you needn't even do. Like, can we just make an impact on one person's life and be happy with it? Ultimately, what is all this followers and getting people to do all this? What is it ultimately doing that I need to go and change the world? And I go back and forth on this. This is the nonsense that goes on for me too. It's like, I want to impact 8 billion people on the planet. I want to make a change. And then I go back to, wait, I don't need to do anything. The world does not need me to change anything, because the world does not need healing. God's got it under control. And then I come back to, let me ground myself. These are the people that are in my life. Let me do the best I can to help each other find God. And then I'm like, this real estate deal. I got to do this real estate deal. Oh, I got to make all this money. Oh, I gotta have money to provide for my wife. When she could care less, she's like, I just want us to have moments together and talk. And how much but see, the course says you just needed that one instant to constantly be reminded. I've had multiple of those one instances. And so I'm always reminding myself. But I go right back to it. Yeah. The struggle of thinking big. Think bigger. Go bigger. Go bigger. The bigger you go, you'll find that at the very end, that this whole bigness, it comes right back down to owning you. That you did the best that you can, that you're going to come down to a moment of stillness and peace. And in that stillness and peace, you're going to say, great, I did my best. I really need not do anything anymore. That's the moment you will have peace. But in the other moments that you're fighting to just do something and achieve something, to do what? See, the course ultimately tells you, you don't need to do anything. God's got it all under control. You don't need to go fix anybody, heal anybody, or do anything. You needn't do anything. Nobody needs your rescuing. The world does not need to change. Your thoughts about the world needs to change. That is it. And so I got to bring myself back to that. But then I'm like, I already did all this stuff. I already created all these things. And people look to me. People count on me. And I've said it multiple times. All I want to do is sit here and talk about A Course in Miracles and do a radio show like this for 7 days a week, 7 hours a day, and then just go and spend time with my wife, play video game when I want to. And I can probably create and touch more people's lives than I am doing right now, and probably create more money by doing that. So what am I really doing right now? Like, what am I really doing on my daily basis, on a daily? And this is the struggle everybody goes through. I freaking hate my job. My 9-to-5 job, I freaking hate it. That's why I want to go and manage a whole bunch of properties. And so I can freaking hate that too. And then I can go do something else and freaking hate that too. And then finally come to a place where I'm like, yeah, I just really didn't need to do all of that at all. I just want to sit here and I just want to paint. I just want to read books. I just want to dance. I just want to listen to music. I just want to play the guitar. And we come down to all of that. Right? And really all I'm doing on this call is telling myself how freaking insane I am. So I hope that created some openness and curiosity about A Course in Miracles. And those of you guys that are listening and are here, great. Something's working. It's not me, it's the course. It's you. So, yeah. Thoughts, questions, what's coming to your mind? Natalia's like, wait, what happened? I was checked out the last 5 minutes that you were talking. I was thinking about my own life. No, go ahead.
What came up for me is the time that I do nothing. How for me it even shows up in okay, I'm gonna take one more course, one more ceremony, one this, one that, and I feel like the core underneath of all of that is the core belief that I'm not enough as I am, that there's something lacking that I'm looking for outside. So that's what came up for me. I don't know if exactly that's what it's saying on paragraph 4 at the end, but that's what came up for me as you were speaking. That even in the space of like healing and learning, when I do that, I feel like sometimes I do it with the with that like thinking there's something else that needs to be done, when really in reality is I need to do nothing. There's not one more ceremony, not one more class in Course in Miracles. Like there's no other book that needs to be read.
Yeah. The need of it is what we want to, underline and highlight. The doing part, do whatever you want to do, right? But there is no need to do any of that. There's no need to get into an argument. There's no need to debate. There's no need for this deal to happen. The need does not have to be there. Do it and then reflect on how you're doing it. Reflect on what's got your peace, what's got you, right? Because if anything from this world is grabbing onto you, then you're not at peace. And you know what's funny? Well, what's funny is every time there's one of my good brothers from Peru said this to me, because I say this a lot. I'm like, I'm trying to think. And he's like, trying to think. He's like, trying to think. He's like, the Buddha would just start laughing right now. And so every time I do something silly, I'm like, I just imagine Buddha, like a fat Buddha, just laughing at whatever I'm doing, like how silly it is. And it's basically, so the Course is talking about the Holy Spirit and Jesus. And in place of Jesus and Holy Spirit, I see the Buddha laughing at me. All right, like a big fat Buddha with a big belly just laughing at my insanity. Like every time I lose my shit, every time I get worried and anxious, like just it's Buddha laughing at me. And I start to laugh in my head every time someone says, I'm trying to think. And I do it too. I'm like, I'm trying to think. Like, really? You're trying to think, huh? Like, can you try to think? What does that mean? So as you were sharing that, I couldn't really hear what you said. I started to think about the Buddha and me trying to think. So now we're just playing this game back and forth. This is why we can't ever really communicate with each other, because words get in the way. Words get in the way. No matter what kind of intention we want to have for the world, the fact that we think we need to fix something or fix someone, it will be heard incorrectly, because at some point people will be like, I don't need your fixing. I don't need your help. The fact that you're trying to help them, you imply that there is something wrong with them, and then they dig into the trenches and they're not open. Right? Think about whenever we want someone to do something, if we directly tell it to them, there's going to be a resistance. But if we just go and do it ourselves, and then they're like, oh, let me come and help you. My wife, if she tells me to do things, I'm like, I don't want to do it. It's like, can you do the dishes? I'm like, no, I don't want to do it. But if it's there and she's just doing it with peace of mind and everything, I'm like, hey, can I help you do the dishes? Like, it works, but somehow our mind still gets our insanity is, her insanity would be, I'm going to tell you to do the dishes instead of just enroll me and welcome me to do the dishes. Right? Because one way worked, one way doesn't work, but the doesn't work part, we still fight to be right about that way. I'm going to ask you, I'm going to tell you to do it all the time. So, yeah. Good that she's not on this call, because then I'm going to hear an earful after this. Every time on A Course in Miracles, she jumps on and she's like, well, why did you say that? I'm like, yo, it was a lesson that just came up. You're here. I see you. I think about you. I think about our stuff. You're always on my mind. So, I use this to share as my own learning place. And she's getting it. But, sometimes she's like, well, you didn't need to share that. You didn't have to say that. You didn't have to say this about the socks. You make me seem like a bad person. I'm like, oh my God, no, I'm not. So good that she's not here. See, this is why I purposely do it this early in the morning, because she's sleeping. And chances are she's not going to watch a replay 55 minutes in. She's probably like on a live somewhere. Yeah, you're great, Lyra. Go do your thing. Go do a bunch of nothings. No, have a great day. What else? What you guys hearing? What else can we laugh about? Everybody's sitting here. I'm trying to think. Trying to think. Trying to think what we even just talked about. Trying to think what I was just thinking about. That was fun. What were we just laughing at? Let's see. Oh, everybody from my Facebook's dropped. I have 0 people on Facebook now. Okay, so Natalia, what else? What you been going through? Anybody? What are some challenges that you're going through this week? What control are you guys not willing to let go of? Oh, it's almost time to start W2s. You know, the thing that we hate.
So as you're saying all this, Alex, I'm like, man, I gotta go put gas. Man, I gotta go to the library. Man, I gotta do X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, sometimes it's like when I'm not like mentally thinking about doing something, that's when the energy comes to it. And when I'm like, I got to do this, and I'm like trying to do it, that's the key word, trying. It's like I get jammed up, and it's like I'm not as productive when I don't. When I'm not thinking A, then B, then Z, when I'm thinking just like, okay, I see a vision, and then like, I don't know, I had this thing where it's like, oh, I should rearrange my apartment, and I just kept thinking about it, and then I'm like, yeah, but not now. And then just one day, I just like went into the state of like not thinking, and then I just started like moving my bookshelf, moving the dresser, like it's just a small studio, and I just moved everything around, and I wasn't thinking about it. It's a weird thing. I was on a call with you, and I wasn't thinking about doing it. It's just all of a sudden this energy just came. So it's weird. There's like this reverse thing. It's like when I try to do it, that's when I get jammed up. And when I go into this flow state, it's like, oh, there's like this natural energy. And it's like weird. I can't summon it. It just comes on its own, and I'm not in charge. It's like the elephant and the rider problem. So I think that's what she's saying. It's like you don't need to do anything. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly that. You know, that's why there's a practice. My buddy was telling me this is my little Buddha friend from Peru. You know, he's such a little Buddha, seriously. He'll just sit there, do nothing. Do nothing until he decides that he wants to do something. That he's like, "Oh, now I got to pee." And he gets out, goes pee. And he can just sit there all day and do nothing. I'm like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Oh." I'm like, "Cool. All right." And he's like, "Want to play the guitar?" I'm like, "All right." So it's pretty, you know, there is a thing about you know, just being instead of having to do anything. And it will tell you, it will just move you to do things. Yeah.
So,
And
so as I was like listening to you, I'm like thinking I should put gas, and then I'm like thinking, okay, well, what else should I do? And then I realized I just keep thinking I should go put gas right now, over and over again. So is it the fact that my mind keeps on saying this thing that I should actually just do it so it shuts up? Like it's like I want to do something else, but I don't know what. It's like there's always a state of like dissatisfaction, like Buddha. It's like we're always dissatisfied.
well,
But that's like a feature of life. This dissatisfaction, just thinking I need to do something.
uh-huh.
That's actually a good sign that you're on the path.
Yeah, you don't have to or need to do anything, but if in your mind you're like, "Oh, I should go put gas in my car." Yeah, it's probably just an intuition because if you don't, your ass is probably going to get stuck on the side of the road later and you're like, "God damn it, I should have just listened to that." See, it's the resistance to listening to what we're thinking is the problem. When the thought comes, just do. But I need not do but in the moment that I'm like, "Oh, I'm going to go get gas." You're like, "Oh, I need to go get food. I need to go do this. Oh, I got to make this phone call." And then you start to just get all crazy with all your need to do's. It's like, "Let me just do this. This is what, you know, spirit tells me I need to do. I need to go get some gas." Spirit knows what to do. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I also think like I just got into this conversation with my father about like losing weight, and it's kind of like, okay, I found out that this breathing technique can help people lose weight, and it's like the first step is realizing that you have a problem, which he doesn't think he has a problem.
Do you think he has a problem?
Well, his knee hurts because he had like 4 knee surgeries already, and there's a lot of weight on that knee. So he's like, well, everybody should just do X, Y, and Z then. I'm like, I don't, it's irrelevant thinking about you. But it's like the spirit is saying you don't even need to try, you can't really change anyone. And it's true, I can't really change them.
Because what are you trying to prevent?
Death, we're all gonna die, right?
You also think that by fixing his knee that he can experience less pain and less frustration in life. That ain't the truth. It's you thinking it's gonna serve him.
Well,
Uh-huh.
I mean, if it's not, then why put up with it? It's like
That's a good question.
And then like the same thing with like my vision improvement thing. It's like it's interesting. Somebody who has really, really bad vision is really motivated to solve this problem.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody who has like a minor defect is not really motivated. And it's like also that with pain and like other things, it's like I guess the spirit enjoys it or doesn't notice it or needs something. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, think about a dog. A dog loses one leg and is just as happy as ever running on 3 legs. Right? But we're like, oh, but it could be better on 4 legs. I don't know, can it? What are you trying to avoid? You think you're going to avoid pain and frustration and make your life easier? And that doesn't happen because the whole world is happening in your mind. Like, he could be sitting on a wheelchair and be fat as ever, have the same form, a different form of the same frustration as the pain in his knee, or being skinny, losing weight, and all of a sudden he's like, oh yeah, now I can exercise. He's gonna have struggles and frustrations about something else. They're all different forms of the robbing of your peace. So at the end of the day, the only way to help somebody is to show them that I don't have a single problem with the way you are. And you invite them to look, this is how my life is. Because you think when you say that you need to lose weight for your knee and you get into this debate with him, all you guys are doing now is let's play find the bad guy. Let's play who's right, who's wrong. You're no longer even talking about the problem.
He's like, oh, well, everybody, you and your brother should just stop smoking weed. Like, weed is...
I know. It no longer is even about weight anymore. It's just about defense, and we start defending. Think about this. This is the problem that comes up across the board everywhere, every one of our relationships. But if I'm like, the same spirit that flows through me to think that being fit is healthy is flowing through my dad as well. He will know himself. See right here. Wait, what did I read earlier? Everyone will find his way in his own time. That's the reason why we need do nothing. I need not to even have this conversation with my dad because he will find his own way in his own time. I just have to come to the acceptance of that. And I demonstrate and teach love, which is the acceptance to the fact that you will find your own way at your own time. Awesome, Dad. Great. Keep it up. Not in a sarcastic way. Keep it up. Eat this, whatever. There will be he hasn't felt enough pain and suffering to want to lose the weight yet. And I don't know what it takes. A lot of times for us, we are so stubborn that we need some sort of serious illness or heart attack or whatever for us to even pay attention to what we're doing. We need a real scare and a real wake-up call. Now, that need not happen, but it will happen because you chose for that to happen. You chose in the way that you've done all these things to have that drastic impact to scare you into a right direction. And oftentimes it isn't even about the body. It's just about a scare like, ooh, now I get to really care about the people around me. Like, be more genuine. Say the things that are real on my mind. The sooner we get there, the better. We don't the heart attack and the crazy wake up moments are not necessary. Okay? But you've delayed yourself to a point where the GPS, where God's like, "Well, here you go." That's the result of constantly thinking like that until you get a wake up call. Somebody dies, you have a heart attack, something happens to you, you lose all your money, like life's going to show you. Everybody's going to learn one way or another. I need do nothing to make that happen. They will all do it on their own. Everything's going to happen to people based on the way that they are doing it. I do these calls for myself. I've been pretty down, been overwhelmed the last couple of weeks, and every single day I'm like, I think I'm just going to cancel this one. I don't really feel like doing it. But then after I do it, I feel so good. And I'm like, all right, I can take on the world now. And I do my relationship right. But when I miss it, I just miss it. And then I miss it. And then I miss it. It's the same thing as going to the gym. But just because I do these calls, it doesn't mean that some of the challenges I'm facing disappears, but my perception to it changes. Right? Like the way I respond to it changes. I don't just react out of it. I respond knowing that I need do nothing. And I deepen my trust and faith that whatever is the turnout is going to be fine. It's not the end of the world either way. Because I can do it with a whole bunch of worry and anxiety and get a bunch of people riled up, or I just do it with peace and trust. Either way, we're getting there. How do I want to experience my life on the way there? We're all going to arrive at the gates of heaven, and we'll wait in line, and every one of us needs to drop all of our shit, all the stuff we carry with us, and we walk in there. Yeah. Use other people to hold you accountable. It's not for them, it's for you. Ugh. All right. Wow. We got a lot done and we still got so much time, which is awesome. What else? What you guys want to share? Anybody else want to share anything and start another conversation? Could be anything.
I guess also me again.
Yeah.
So I guess guilt, because I guess that's when you're talking about all that, I realized that I reflect on my life. Yesterday, I was reflecting, and I was thinking about how I showed up, and I was like, oh, I need to show up differently for that person, and I need to do something to offset the bad that I did, and it's do I really need to, or are you even thinking about that, or or maybe I can just use it as a learning experience and choose differently, because that's what all life is just making mistakes over and over again.
Well, that's definitely one way to look at it, right? That life is just making mistakes over and over again. Now, maybe it is, but it depends on what you define mistakes as, right? Because to me, mistakes mean something, and then to you, mistakes may mean something else. Like mistakes could mean lessons to you, and then I may think, ooh, mistakes is bad. That's why words fall so short from helping us communicate. It helps us communicate on one end, but it also creates more confusion on another. Right? Dogs don't speak, but we know they communicate very, very well. They don't got words. And we're over here having words and just trying to figure out how to use words better and just causing more confusion. We have a million different names for God. Okay, good job. Good job, people, with all the different words that we've made up and created. can all prayer just be prayer? It's like, nope, gotta do it this way. Nope. You gotta say this, gotta say that, use these words. We're silly. We're crazy.
As you were saying that, I got into this conversation about God with a Christian person the other day, and it's interesting. Like, as a Hindu, I just believe that as long as somebody believes something, that's great. And so he was like, Jesus is the only way to like attain salvation, and all the other pagan religions do not have such a thing, because God embodied himself as a man and came. And I was just listening, and as I'm listening, I felt this like tinge of like a little bit of resentment. And then I realized, wait a second, Hinduism has like a very strong non-compete like policy. We don't compete because we believe that competition creates violence. It's like everybody's born into their own thing, and eventually everybody's going to find their way back. And I just felt offended at the word pagan. I realized, wait a second, I don't even know what the word pagan means. I had to like look it up. Like, I don't call myself a quote unquote pagan. I don't know. It sounds like a curse word to me. It sounds like a derogatory term. And it was originally in Latin. It meant like a yokel, like one of those like uninformed people. And it's like, what, like, I mean, it's like, okay, well, that's fine that he believes something, and that's great. That's his whole spin. That's like what gives him his salvation. So why am I? So I kind of like lost, but it's like, okay, we all just have different names for the same thing. And in Hinduism, there is basically, that's the whole thing about Hinduism, is that God takes a human form, and he has human limitations. And like, there's a story about when Ram had to cross the ocean to go save his wife or whatever. And so like he's like praying to God. He's God. He's praying to Shiva. He's praying to God. And he's like, God, I need to find a way to cross this ocean. Tell me what to do. And Shiva's laughing like, wait, you're God. You're asking me. Like, you already know. Like, he's kind of like, you have the power. You just don't know. And he's like, he got this vision. He's like, write the name of God on a rock, put it on the water, and it'll float. And until today, we still have that. They call it a quote unquote natural formation, but it's called Adam's Bridge. And so God did have tribulations in our religion too, but somehow in this guy's mind, because he doesn't know, this is what I have to remember, is he doesn't know about other people's religions, and that it's fine that he doesn't know, and that I'm not, my job is not to convert him, but his religion's job is to try to convert me, which we don't believe in conversions. So it's just so interesting. And then I had this whole dynamic, and all this just fell into place, and I felt like, I don't know, I felt good, because I was like, oh, okay, well, I don't have to do anything. He doesn't have to do anything, and everybody's happy. So I don't need to teach him anything. I don't need, like, I just learned from my reaction. It's like how sometimes when Christian people talk, it's like they get really scared, and it's like all this fear. It's like, you don't, and blah, and it's like contagious. It's like a contagious emotion. That's it.
Yeah, it's very interesting to watch your journey of coming to peace with everything, right? Because when we first started this and when we first met, there was a lot of like, everybody needs to be this way too. There was a little bit of that, your so-called like Christian way of doing things, of the converting things, right? People need to do this to be for the better of them. And then now the conversations that you're having is like, it's coming to a level of acceptance and bringing that power back to you, that I'm the one that's creating the conflict here. In seeing that this person said this means war, means an attack, means conflict. And now you're just like, oh, yeah, cool. Your capacity for understanding and your capacity for compassion and empathy is also growing. And in that, what's happening is you're starting to see yourself and your brother as one. You're starting to see, oh, I can see that why you think this way, because, I have areas in which I do too. So in seeing the sameness and seeing the likeness helps bring your mind back to peace, because you could have created a whole bunch of drama there for yourself. Right? But it needn't happen. I don't need not do something right here. Right? Again, it comes down to every single person will come around at some point at their own time, including myself. So then the patience, the infinite patience, the Course says infinite patience produces immediate results. The immediate result is peace. The infinite patient is a state of mind. It does not mean, because when we say infinite patient, oh, what do you mean? So I'm going to have to just, be patient every single time and we start thinking about time again. We lose track of the now. Infinite patience is a state of mind now that produces peace now. Because there is only now. But when we think about infinite patience, we start thinking about all the times in the past that I was patient, then all the times in the future that I may have to be patient too. And then we're like, nah. And then we get in, and then we feel anxious again. And then we feel like we need to go to war. And then we do that in our relationships. Right? What else?
Yeah, that's so beautiful that the way you said that. And it's interesting. I wasn't thinking about myself as like trying to convert people to veganism, and then I'm like, oh yeah, I do that too.
I remember in the beginning, because I used to think that too. I'm like, well, why the hell would anybody need to eat animals? I'm like, why do I care? Why do I need to? This is my own choice, and that's great. People do whatever they want,
Right. I still think it's the future. I just think it's a way to embody it.
Listen, I'm with you. I'm with you. There's a judgmental side of my mind, an ego side of my mind that's like, people that don't eat meat are more compassionate and more capable of love. It's an insane thought, so don't worry about it.
I think so too.
It's only for myself. Don't worry about it.
And then I get this compassion and love from other people who actually, consume animals, and I'm like, well, it's the human spirit. It's undeniable greatness in the human spirit, no matter what.
Yeah. Listen, we do what we do. As long as it gives us peace, we do it. Right? It doesn't matter. The world does not need to be vegan. The world does not need to do this or that. Go ahead, Dwight.
Hey there, good morning.
Hey.
Hi. So I'm excited and nervous. Kelly is moving down here tomorrow and moving into my room, and she's moving into my house, and this is very exciting. It's the first time Kelly, and first time I've had a live-in girlfriend in almost a decade, and so that's a big change for me. And what you're saying is resonating to me. I know, for example, recently she got a haircut, and I made the mistake of telling her I preferred her last haircut better, and that was a mistake. So I need to make sure that I practice full acceptance, and I need to also make sure that I don't take things personally, and that but so it's nerve. It makes me nervous, because she's moving here, and I don't want us to get on each other's nerves. And I really love her so much, and I just want to make sure that I create an environment where she's fully accepted.
Yeah. But here again, you need not even do that. Right? Like, this is the whole thing. Like, our mind is crazy. Like, I need to do this. I need to make sure she's accepted. I need to make sure I'm like this. Look, it's just about perception of how you see the relationship, right? Because you've made a special relationship. You made a special idea about somebody moving in with you and living with you. All of a sudden, everything's going to change. We're going to get on each other's nerves. All the fear starts to come up. All I need to do is be able to see that she is a great teacher of mine. Right now, I get to be in a teaching environment, which she's in my face all the time. Can I welcome the challenges that are going to come? Because there will be, right? When two people move in together, it becomes a different vibe, right? Oh man, I wish we were more like, we spent more quality time together, but hey, we're around each other all the time. And then, and so different things will come up, but can I look at everything as a teaching? And she's going to be a great teacher. She's going to give me a lot of opportunities to learn. So then I write my mind about what this relationship even is. I don't need to satisfy her, and she doesn't need to satisfy me. She's going to give me the opportunity to learn what satisfaction means. I don't even know why I'm using the word satisfaction. Love, okay? She's going to give me the opportunity to deepen my capacity to love and to understand love. I think I love her right now. I only have a little speck of an understanding of what love really is. Let's go. Bring it on. I'm ready for the challenge. That's why I've asked you to move in with me and I've agreed to it. And, I might have said this about your haircut, that. Yeah, it all comes down to all my own preference. See, I need to be in control of even your haircut. There's a sense of just insanity around it. But we get to continue to practice and look at this needing to be in control of something, our preference of something. Because same thing with my wife. She used to wear these 8-inch platform heel things. I'm like, those things look ridiculous, but she still got them. She still wears them. And I'm like, okay, cool. I had to come to an acceptance myself. And if we got into a fight about it, that was not necessary. Yeah, thank you, Carolyn. Yeah, so great. And when things are great, when things are going good, is also a good time to continue these practices and reminders. Oftentimes, what happens when people jump back onto this call because their relationship is a mess, their money is a mess. When things are good, they're like, I don't need to practice this. I don't need any of this. And then the patterns just come back and haunt us in those areas, and we forget. This is a constant working. When we get into everything's unicorns and lollipops and cotton candy, we get lazy, right? There's a saying what is it? Good times make weak people make bad times, and bad times make strong people, and on and on and on, and we go, right? In that hamster wheel. Can we step outside of that hamster wheel and just get out of it for ourselves? And that requires constant practice every day. If you have a spiritual practice, if you have a morning routine, do it. If you have a gratitude practice, do it. Do it every day so that you can keep your mind right perspective when dealing with people and being in a relationship. Okay, especially if you're living with somebody. Okay, that's all sorts of stuff is going to come up. I'm like, why do you got my toothbrush next to your toothbrush? I mean, we're married now. I'm like, you confuse me with it. And then sometimes you get confused and start using my toothbrush. And I don't want you to use my toothbrush because that's gross, right? This is my own shit, obviously. But she just keeps leaving her toothbrush right there next to my toothbrush. And that toothbrush is actually my old toothbrush with a new head. So it's even more confusing. I'm like, what the hell? Get your toothbrush in your bathroom, and I got my toothbrush in my bathroom. Again, good that she's not here right now. No, the toothbrush looks different, but like in the morning when you're all like, oh, and she gets up, she end up using my toothbrush. So, yeah. And, that's my own shit, but that stuff comes up. Go ahead, Claudia.
Hi.
Hi.
Can you hear me well? Because I have new headphones.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, good. Hi, everybody. So, if you keep talking about these things, and I keep trying to jump in the call, but I'm super busy at work right now. But I just want to add, when the person was sharing that his girlfriend's moving in, and I remember one time giving you love a little roller with a little essential oil on it.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
I was like, oh my, you smell like Claudia. And I'm like, no, brother, no. You don't say that. You don't say that to your wife. You don't say that. You say, you smell so good. But you don't say you smell like Claudia. You said, no.
You know what's super funny? What's super funny is I really like that smell, and then now she doesn't even wear it. So, oh well.
Because I'm the mindfulness, right? And the mindfulness. And then again,
what I keep hearing, just in an observant capacity, that I keep hearing, I think I can feel this way. I think I can feel this way. And that was in a huge ceremony that I was last weekend. When you say I think, I feel, you're not feeling anything because you're putting that in the mind. And then the mind is beautiful. But when you think you feel, there's no such a thing. So dropping completely to your feelings is one key that I've in my personal work has been 100% supporting me. Don't think what you feel, just feel it. When you feel with the mind, there's no feel. So you go to your ego. And then when that happens, there's nothing to do there. You're never going to be in your heart.
Yeah.
So when you say, I'm thinking, I'm feeling, and catch it, oh my God, I am out of my heart. So drop it to your heart. So feel it, 100% of feeling. So that's it. That's just what I add that.
Thank you. And also get me some of that nice smelling perfume thing that you got. I really like it. So I also got Tatiana on Instagram that jumped in live with me. So let's see what Tatiana, go ahead.
Hi, Alex, and hi, everyone. I am in Florida right now. I'm at work, but I felt like a lot of things came up during your reading about needing, about control, and I feel like I can relate to it a lot. And I recall a few situations, like it happens on a regular basis with me. Like, for example, I have a boyfriend, Ryan, and sometimes when I come from work, and he's busy all the time. And when I come home, and sometimes I wake up early and I'm kind of tired and I want to just chill after work. And he's asking me to make a green juice for him or make a smoothie for him or do this for him. And I've been in the kitchen all day, and like again, I need to go back in the kitchen, and I feel like it put kind of stress for me. And I do it because he asked me, but like every time I come home, like, oh please, just I just want to rest. I don't want to do anything anymore. And if he is not asking me, I feel like, oh, he doesn't ask me to do anything. I kind of want to do it for him. So I feel like as I'm observing myself, I love things coming from me. I don't really like to be asked to do something. I feel like I have like a force on me. So, and if he doesn't ask me, I'm gladly, no matter how tired I am, I'm gladly like doing it. I don't know, like what it's all about, but yeah. Another example, like for example, I'm in a gym and I am doing a certain amount of reps, and like I'm aiming, for example, to have 15 reps, let's say. And I feel like I'm struggling to do all these reps, and then I'm telling myself, you know what, you don't have to do 15 reps. Just do as much as you can. You don't hurt yourself. Just be gentle with yourself. Just maybe do more other exercise or something. And then as soon as I give myself permission to not push myself hard, oh, okay, now it's my free will, and I do 15 reps. It works every single time. I just it's my little cheat, like my trick, how I fool myself by giving myself permission, not need to have this, to complete this 15 reps. It's just amazing. And sometimes, like in the morning, when I don't feel like wake up and do my workout, I'm like, okay, just lie down and maybe do it like a couple hours later, just have a sleep. And as soon as I give myself permission to stay in the bed for a couple more hours, I'm up. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And something else, we have our workshops together, and people like me bringing food and make food for them. And I also feel like force on me that I have to do it, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna be in the flow of making food. Maybe I'm not gonna be in I just want to chill or something. So when I'm not asked to do this, I'm gonna wake up at 8 o'clock and I'm gonna do it. But if I feel like if I commit to it, like if I say that I'm gonna make breakfast or I'm gonna bring food, I'm gonna be thinking about it. I'm gonna be overthinking about it. Oh, I have to make the food. I have to make the food. You know, I need to have this. So for me, it's very important to not have that feeling of I have to, I need to do something. Like, yeah, I like to be like in the flow and check with myself how I feel about it and like go with the situation.
Yeah. Nice. That's exactly what we talked about the whole call today is I need do nothing. I don't need to do anything. And it's a state of mind. Again, it's a state of mind. It's, it's to help you find peace, to recognize that I don't need to do anything. Right. And then you just gave an example right there, which is when I feel the pressure to do something, and I said it earlier, when I'm told to do the dishes, I'm like, I don't want to do it. And then when it's just there and she's doing it, I'm like, ooh, let me help you do it. Right? Like, what is that about for us? We're freaking insane. And it's coming to that. And you created a little trickery with yourself, but it's about doing everything with grace and with peace and accepting whatever is to come. All right. So as we're wrapping up here, Claudia, last thoughts, and then I'm going to read something for us and then we will wrap it up. Thank you all for being here to this point.
Thank you, Alex.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for hopping on.
I haven't heard it from before.
Oh, okay. All right.
If Claudia doesn't want to say something, can I say something?
Yeah, of course.
Cool. Okay, so
I'm not sure how I can rate the line.
where do I start? So basically, let me just make it short. I read this book, and it's something that I started applying to my life because I've always put my intention in my heart. But she says that in the heart, sometimes there's also resentment, and I started realizing, yeah, there is resentment there sometimes. So she's like, put your attention in your solar plexus, in your stomach instead, and it is like my second brain. And like sometimes when I put my attention in my heart, like I just kind of like veg out. But it's like I guess it's also a form of doing. But basically, I heard that tip, put my attention in my solar plexus, and I find it to be useful. So maybe add that to your toolkit as well. Yeah.
Add to my toolkit of putting my hand on my solar plex.
Put your attention there. Like some people say, live in your heart, but in living in your heart, sometimes there's resentment. But in your solar plexus, it's just pure knowledge. It's like that. That's why they say that we have a gut feeling at times. It's like a second brain there. And yeah, so I resonated with that. So I don't know if that resonates with anyone else.
All right. Set your intentions to your solar plex. It's somewhere around the gut and between your gut and your heart area, I think. It's where it's where the light is, probably. All right. So let me read this one last thing and we'll call it a day. It's been fun. It was great. You know what's funny? My wife actually tried to join the call, and I think I might have hit like dismiss by accident. Oops. I didn't do it. Anyways, I know, right? I'm going to go up and see what this is all about after this. All right. Day 36 in the Marianne Williamson's A Year of Miracles. Whatever I give to others, I am giving to myself. Great theme for the day. In the mortal world, what I give away is no longer mine. In the spiritual world, only what I give away is mine. Ooh. If I give anger, I shall know anger. If I give love, then I shall know love. Help me resist, dear God, my projection of blame into others, for it is only in seeing them innocent that I can be at peace. Help me to disagree without blame, to share without criticism, and to debate without demonizing anyone. Make me in all ways a conduit of your love. Today I give my peace to others, that I may be at peace. I withhold my judgment, that judgment not be mine. I extend my love, that love be mine forever. Whatever I give to others, I am giving to myself. First of all, just to conclude, Marianne Williamson is ridiculous. She is ridiculous in the way she writes and how she channels these messages. Oh man. She's great. You know, all of these, when I finish this, I tag Marianne Williamson and hashtag her on every one of these calls. So, all right, T. My intention is in my solar plex is that she will be on one of these calls one day, or I'll get to do an interview with her, something. All right. So thank you, everybody. Thank you for being here. It was a great call. I had a lot of fun. And I will see you guys on Sunday.